welcome back to Shock's Talks. I'm Shakti and it's Easter 2026. Today is also episode 100 of Shock's Talks, so thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who's listened or watched a single episode. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, today would be a great day to do that. It's totally free for you, and I'd love to see the channel grow. And if you are watching these episodes, I love it so much when you leave comments and engage, so please continue to do so. Today is the day that a lot of people in the UFO community might be thinking about the Bledsoe prophecy. We've discussed this on a few different episodes of Shock's Talks, but essentially, Chris Bledsoe received a message from an apparition he calls the White Lady, and she spoke of some kind of transformative event occurring on or around this time of year 2026. So we'll all be staying tuned to see if anything like that occurs. I personally think that these prophecies are usually not to be taken literally, but I'm open to finding out what happens. Bledsoe sees orbs all the time, so it wouldn't be surprising if he sees some orbs today or around this time of year. But whether or not anything major will occur as a result of the Regulus star aligning with the Sphinx is yet to be seen. Another interesting part of this story is the comment that Kelly Chase made recently on the Doomer Friday episode with Pavel from Psychoactivo and a couple other guys. She mentioned the possibility that while she does believe that Bledsoe and his family are genuine good people and genuine experiencers, that once they came out into the public, there's the potential for a psyop to occur, meaning that members of intelligence agencies and those who are seeking to control the narrative around disclosure would infiltrate the family, kind of using them as pawns, and perhaps this prophecy is part of a greater scheme to actually lessen the faith in these people's true experiences. So we'll also have to keep an eye on things to see if any of Kelly's predictions are coming true around this prophecy not really amounting to much. Right now, I'm reading this book by Niara, Terela, Isley, which I've talked about on the last two episodes. I gave a breakdown of the introduction, which was really comprehensive and kind of gives you a taste of everything that you're going to learn about in this book. Now I'm deeper in and I'm starting to get into the hypnosis transcripts, which is very similar to the book Abduction by John Mack, where you're actually reading word for word what happened during a regression session. So it's getting a little intense, but basically so far what we're covering is Niara's experience in the military and a strange situation that happened over the course of 3 months where she was brought to this range in Nevada, very much along the lines of Area 51 or the Nevada test site, and she was shown at night anomalous objects in the sky. She was part of a team working with radar tracking, and fixing the equipment was one of her duties. And she was shown anomalous craft and then taken to another facility where really extreme measures were taken to ensure that she would never speak about her experience. It's pretty disturbing stuff, but also very interesting in combination with so many other accounts given by people who have worked in the military and Navy, and just starting to try to piece together all of these different aspects of what some call MILABs or military abductions, and the procedures used to scramble the mind and intimidation tactics used to ensure that no top secret information is ever leaked by these individuals. Later in this book, we're going to get deeper into her own experience as an alien abductee. But what I find fascinating right now is that in many of the memories that she's uncovering through this regression session, and through a number of different sessions with both Bud Hopkins and another woman called Gloria, can't remember her last name off the top of my head, but I'll be doing a full episode when I complete the book, so I'll give you all the notes then. But through the course of these different sessions, she's also remembering that during these my labs, there were gray aliens present. So it's always interesting when a person has a story of human collaboration with non-human biological entities or non-human intelligence embodied. This is very, very interesting because these types of stories suggest that not only is there an alien presence that has visited the Earth, but they have actually come here physically and started communications with aspects of the government and other intelligence agencies. Now, other stories that I can think of off the top of my head that describe similar things include stories of reptilian entities in underground bases. She mentioned both gray aliens and reptilians in her uncovered memories. And as we get deeper into the story, I think we're also going to learn more about a possible hybrid history in her own genetic makeup, as well as with hybrid children that she is the mother of. So this is another thing that we've heard about before. I'll keep you all posted in terms of what else I learned from this book. And the next book on my list I'm really excited about is by Dr. Julia Mossbridge. It's called Have a Nice Disclosure. Really cute, funny little cover here, and I'm very interested to see what it is that she wants to say to us about disclosure right now. As far as I understand, Julia Mossbridge is someone who was taken advantage of through the GATE programs as a child. She was trained, and she was also given a memory erasing drink. And so basically what we're learning again and again is that, you know, whoever it is, I hate to say just one entity because it does seem to be a combination of military, intelligence, and government agencies, and possibly private as well, who have been and are continuing to do experiments on people who are not giving consent, people who are in a vulnerable position, whether they be children, women, indigenous people that have been picked up from other countries and brought into these programs. There's a lot of stories going on around this idea that there is this trauma inoculation that is used to enhance psi abilities. And so we're just going to continue to hear, I think, in the coming years from more and more of these people who are speaking out now that they feel safer and they're, you know, in good company. And it's probably going to be a little bit disturbing, but we do have to continue listening and examining these stories in combination with the larger context of programs that we do have evidence on, things that we have verified through the Freedom of Information Act, documentation of the CIA doing experiments on unwitting citizens. And you can read all about this in that white paper that was put out by the New Paradigm Institute, where they actually break down one by one a number of different CIA programs that happened mostly in the 60s and 70s. And you can just get a little taste of like just how crazy these people are and how extreme their methods are. And you can extrapolate from there what else has been done and what's been done in secret. And then compare that with the stories and the accounts of the people coming forward. And just to remind us all, most of these people, whistleblowers, and even someone as famous as Bob Lazar, who's been recently making the rounds again, went on Joe Rogan again. That was a pretty interesting conversation, although Rogan did go a little off the rails at one point, getting into some weird vaccine stuff. I did not like that part of the interview, but there were some interesting moments where they were having very speculative conversation, and Bob Lazar is back on the scene because of this new documentary that just came out, S4. Luigi Vanitelli is the director of that, and that's getting a lot of traction right now. But one of the things they talked about in this interview is how people like Bob Lazar are not making millions off of their coming forward to talk about what they've seen. And this is the case with so many. There are people in what Pavel from Psychoactivo calls the UFO-tainment, sphere, who might be making a living off of this stuff. Maybe that's like the ancient alien guys. I don't know. I don't know who's really making money off this, But the true truth is most of the people who are working in this field are doing it out of their own curiosity, their own passion, or because they are experiencers themselves and need to get to the bottom of this. So don't let yourself get fooled by thinking that these people are out here making tons of money. Writing books is not very lucrative. You know, if you've ever researched what you would get if you published a book, it's not a lot. You have to be, you know, on some major bestseller lists and possibly having the rights sold to some big movie company or Netflix for you to start seeing any kind of money. And even then, I don't think it's enough to sustain a person for their life, you know? So usually what's happening is people are actually coming forward and endangering themselves, their careers, their reputations in order to share this information. And unfortunately, a lot of times it just has a negative impact on their life. Other than the part where they actually feel some kind of cathartic release because they are aligned with their truth and they're able to share what matters most. And some of these people are real heroes and they're really trying to help to tip the scales and bring this information back into balance, because right now, again, one thing we've learned from this whole study of anomalous history, UFO history, psi history, remote viewing history, is that there's an imbalance of power here, and that the control mechanisms run very deep, have long histories in the United States and globally, and that there is hidden science, hidden tech, and hidden programs that we all as citizens are paying for. And not only are we paying for these things, but some of us are also being exploited by these programs. Some people have had their own experiences with not just extraterrestrial contact, but perhaps with government or military abductions or programs that were running tests or trying things out on people. And this is the part that needs to be brought into the light. So I'm sure that we're going to learn something interesting from Julia Mossbridge, because I know that she's someone who's very much intent upon finding the other way. It's kind of like the Force, you know, we have the people that use the Force for good and the people that use the Force for evil. And the ones that are hell-bent on evil, they can't even imagine another way. They get this one little taste of stress inoculation, providing them with a result that they're looking for, and they just barrel down that path without ever looking over their shoulder or thinking twice. Other people like Julia Mossbridge, who were victims of that type of testing and method, are the ones who are saying, you know what, there's actually another way. And guess what? It's love. Love and joy and positivity and positive intent is another way to bring about psychic results that are meaningful. And this is the same sentiment behind the Psi Games. People like Hakeem Isler, creator of the Psi Games, and all of the others who are joining him to collaborate on this really cool event that is happening this year again for the second time now. These people are trying to find another way, bring it out of the shadows into the light. Let it be voluntary and let it be witnessed by people with positive intent. And yes, let us be rigorous and do real science around these things, but at the same time, bring an air of playfulness and fun to the topic so that we can explore the other side and find out what we can get out of that, instead of just always having to do things in the most intense and negative way. It's just a lack of imagination, in my opinion. So those are the major things going on right now. We've got the Bob Lazar documentary. You've got the peer-reviewed papers by Beatriz Villaroel. We have this incredible new book by Julia Mossbridge. Hopefully, I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited. And we have Chris Bledsoe's prophecy supposed to be happening around this time of year, so we'll see how all of this goes. I'll be back next time with hopefully the rest of this book ready for you. I might have to skip a week because I'm about to make a big relocation, but maybe that'll give me more time to finish reading. I've been slacking a little bit on my remote viewing and side practice, to be honest, because I've been so focused on work lately. But I will be continuing to explore those abilities this year and share with you any tips and tricks that I'm learning along the way. Again, thanks for being here. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that already, and I'll see you next time on Shock's Talks.